Peggy 18.
The saga experience that takes place in the Pacific Northwest is only one part of this experience. The other side is us returning to play as Alan Wake and revisiting a location not only from his past, but also from Remedy's past.
At the end of the first game, Alan Wake dove into Cauldron Lake and ended up in the nightmare dimension underneath the lake or connected to the lake. There is a whole world there waiting, and he's been stuck there ever since.
It's a nightmare reality based on the person's subconscious. For Alan Wake himself, he's gone back to a place from his past.
New York, this fictional version of New York, has a certain magic to it. It's this archetype of a big city. To me, that feels like the right place.
He is a writer from New York City. A lot of his books were these gritty, noir, grimy version of New York City. And so we're starting to see this almost replica of his own internal image of New York start to build itself around him.
There's a lot of history that's happened there from a narrative experience related to his wife Alice. There will be characters that turn up in New York that kind of are connected to some of those books that he wrote as well.
The New York we refer to is an echo of the hard-boiled crime noir city present in the Alex Casey book, which is the novel written by Alan Wake.
Another place to use in the story.
We only used the very old school graffiti from the 70s and the 80s, and we kind of came up with our own version of it, which has a bit of a twist of like horror and nightmare. So we created something that we call nightmare graffiti. If you pay attention to details, even the smallest sign has something to say to you. And we want to create the feeling that the dark place is talking to Alan and the player.
It's sort of a surreal, ever-changing, ever-modulating dreamscape. We want to make the player feel uneasy at all times.
He has learned a lot. So we come back to him, and in some ways, he is the master of the supernatural now. Is he better off because of that? No, quite the contrary. And that to me also is a big part of the horror of it. Like he's really, really lost and really, really struggling.
For him, it could be 1 or 1,000 years. He is just in this room with a typewriter, and that's his world at this point. He's just writing and writing and writing and working through a way out, like trying to find an escape through the only tool that he has, which is writing.
Saga is fighting for her life while Alan is fighting for his own sanity. It's really about like paranoia, confusion. Will you take the risk of revealing the shadow even if there is a monster hidden behind?
In the Pacific Northwest, playing a Saga, I feel there's more of an ebb and flow. Or at least it will feel that way to the player. They'd come back to Saga as a part of the game and feel maybe a little bit of relief. Not to say that the Pacific Northwest doesn't have its own dangers, because we definitely do.
To me, Ilkka Villi, the physical actor of Alan Wake, and Matthew Poreda, the voice actor of Alan Wake, that is who Alan Wake is. There was never any question of Alan Wake being portrayed by anyone else.
This is how it works. Ilkka will paint a picture, and then he'll send it to me, and then I'll paint a little bit on the picture, and then I send it back to him. There's this kind of collaboration that we do, and it's very rare that you see us in the same place together. It's singular, and it's ours.
Did you write these pages, Mr. Wake?
I'm trying to remember it.
When we were making Alan Wake 1, we always used to say that he's terrified but cool. I don't think that a lot of the coolness is left. He's in deep trouble.
There's no escape. You will never escape. You will drown here. You are stuck in a loop. You don't have a clue. You are lost.
There's a humanity to him that you're going to see in this game that you didn't get in the first game. There's a depth.
We have a great show for you here tonight.
Hi, my name is David Harewood, and I'm playing a character called Walling Door in Alan Wake D. This is my talk show, In Between, with Walling Door.
Alan Wake is here. One of my all-time favorite writers and guests on the show.
He seems fairly affable and friendly and fun. But as the story develops, I think you get an idea that Dor is not quite the person who he seems to be. As an actor and a gamer, it's just really cool to be not just in a video game, but to be in a video game made by who I think are probably some of the best video makers. Their storytelling is fantastic, and some of it's really dark.
As a writer, you're always thinking, well, my stuff isn't good enough. Is this, going to actually work? And I think Alan is getting that feedback in a much more tangible and consequential way. It's interesting taking your own profession and applying it as a threat to a character.
I know you from somewhere.
You've just forgotten again. We're in it together. Don't worry.
We have been working hard to make sure that Alan Wake 2 is a very satisfying continuation to Alan Wake's journey.
It is not the story that you would expect, but in my opinion, it is the better for it, and you will be surprised, and I hope pleasantly.